At 5, a final report reveals new details about the plane crash near Newburgh that killed a pilot and a flight instructor. Plus, details on a scam investigation that cost an elderly woman $500,000.
When you're in your 70s, you don't have time to recover from that.
How the plot was carried out. And later.
Stand up, speak up, support Ukraine!
Hundreds gather in downtown Seattle, firm in their support for Ukraine 3 years into the war. And thanks so much for joining us here at 5. I'm John Adams. Our top story tonight, the ongoing search on the Oregon coast for a missing 2-year-old boy. This is the scene this afternoon in Siletz. Dane Paulson hasn't been seen since late yesterday afternoon. Investigators say he was playing in the yard outside his home. First responders and volunteers have been actively looking for him ever since. Search officials are also on the lookout for a gold-colored 1990s station wagon. Police say it was seen in the area at the time Dane went missing. If you have any information, call the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office. Well, turning now to our weather, the blue skies and sunshine we saw over the past few days have mostly disappeared today. It's been mostly overcast with an occasional raindrop around the metro area. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri is joining us tonight. Joe, how are things looking heading into the evening hours tonight?
Well, relatively quiet. We are going to be seeing a few passing showers, but a lot of this stuff that we're picking up on the radar isn't even reaching the surface. A little bit of some snow showers over the last couple of hours throughout the Oregon Cascades. It has been looking pretty outside Timberline Lodge with the snow level at 4,000 feet. Downtown Portland right now, overcast skies as we look toward the northeast side of the city. Temperature of 54 degrees. And what we saw today is what we're going to be experiencing heading into tomorrow with some overcast skies, a chance for some spotty showers, but rainfall amounts are going to be pretty light. Yeah, and I'd say this is pretty light throughout much of the city, not really picking up any measurable amount of rain, and that's the case along the Oregon coast. Hoquiam over there along the Washington side saw a little bit of rain, and that is pretty much it in terms of rainfall amounts. The rainfall amounts will pick up, though, heading into Tuesday, but this is what you'll be seeing the rest of tonight. Mostly cloudy skies, a few passing showers tomorrow morning, some spotty showers heading into the afternoon, but it's going to be more dry than wet is the best way to describe it. And here's that next system, stronger system that I've been tracking. That's going to be arriving by Tuesday morning, bringing in a good amount of snow throughout the Oregon Cascades. Not a good amount, but a few inches here and there. But so far today, it's been pretty light up at the Oregon Cascades. I'll talk more about the sunshine that's on the other side of the forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Joe, we'll see you then. We have an update now on a deadly small plane crash from 2023 that happened near Newburgh. The final report from the National Transportation Safety Board found the probable cause to be the student pilot's failure to maintain control of the airplane and the flight instructor's inadequate supervision of the flight. The crash killed the pilot, 20-year-old Barrett Bavacqua, and the instructor, 22-year-old Michele Cavalotti. Bavacqua's family sued the pilot academy, claiming Cavalotti was solely responsible for failing to maintain control of the plane after letting it slow down below safe standards. A passenger on board who survived the crash told the NTSB she was not aware of any mechanical issues before the crash, nor did she notice any during the flight. New tonight, Portland police are investigating a shooting at a bar that left one person hurt. It happened around 11:30 last night at Shamrock Bar and Grill off of Southeast 82nd. Police say the shooting victim was taken to the hospital. Their condition is not known at this time. No word on any arrests. And in Salem, 2 people and their dogs were displaced from their home after an apartment fire early Saturday. The Salem Fire Department was called to a 4-plex building at around 4:30 yesterday morning near Hawthorne Avenue and Northeast D Street. They encountered an active fire spreading to the exteriors of multiple units. Crews were able to contain the damage to one unit and an exterior wall. The cause of the fire is under investigation.
They convinced him that it was legit. He wasn't supposed to tell anybody, and he was to buy the gold bars.
Last week, the Clark County Sheriff's Office announced they were investigating a sophisticated scam after an elderly woman was swindled out of more than $500,000 in gold coins. However, she may not be the only one. Arceline Stevens spoke with the owners of a local precious metals and coin store who says one of his customers were almost also scammed as well. Celine?
John, so the owner of Portland Precious Metals and Coins says he had an elderly client just last week who tried to buy over $150,000 worth of gold bars from him. That customer eventually telling the owner he was even getting calls from someone posing as a sheriff in Washington, D.C. Luckily for that customer, the deal never got done.
You can't describe how horrible that is.
A gold scam, a part of a trend of hoaxes taking advantage of victims nationwide, according to the Clark County Sheriff's Office. A woman in her 70s losing over $500,000 worth of gold coins after she was contacted by someone claiming to be from the Federal Office of Inspector General, who notified her of fraud activity associated with her Social Security number, with the scam lasting several months.
When you're young and you lose your life savings, you still have everything ahead of you. You can make it back. You can't make it back with once you're elder.
CCSO is investigating that scam, but according to Michael Kukulis, owner of Portland Precious Metals and Coins, it may be more widespread than some think. He says it started with a phone call from an elderly customer last week, asking to buy $150,000 worth of gold bars.
He asked, how soon can he have it? Can he just pick it up right away? And he wanted to wire the money, and a little bit of a sense of urgency in his voice.
He says the customer raised the request to $170,000, placing the order Thursday.
We locked him in at a price for 57 1-ounce gold bars, and everything was normal. Friday comes along, and I receive a call from his banker with him on a conference call. And his banker says, we need to cancel that order because this whole thing was a scam.
Kukulis spoke with the customer after, learning what happened.
Initially, they called him, said his Social Security number was compromised. Some people were opening up different accounts with his Social Security number, trying to launder drug money, stuff like that. I asked, why didn't you tell me? And he said, well, they told him not to tell anybody, and they made some threats.
He says the customer told him the scammers even had him talk to someone claiming to be a sheriff from Washington, D.C. Kukulis says when he heard about the Clark County victim, he started to form a connection.
The details were identical. The Social Security number, the fake bank accounts. That's horrible. I mean, it's evil. I mean, you're taking people's life savings.
The Clark County Sheriff's Office says if you receive a suspicious call, contact the agency you think you're dealing with directly to verify the situation. And remember, a government agency will never ask for payments in gold, gift cards, or cryptocurrency. Kukulis also says he believes the reason for the scams becoming more popular is due to gold being at an all-time high, with the worth of it going up and the dollar going down. John?
All right, our Celine Stevens tonight. Celine, thank you.
Stand up, speak up, support Ukraine. Stand up, speak up, support Ukraine.
Protests were held across the country, including in Portland and Seattle, as people continue to show their support for Ukraine. This was the scene yesterday along the Seattle waterfront. It comes one day after President Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance argued with Ukraine's president in the Oval Office. An administration official told NBC News yesterday that direct negotiations between the Trump administration and Ukraine are on hold. Back in Seattle, supporters gathered with Ukrainians now living in the area, creating a rally of hundreds of Americans, Ukrainians, even some Russians. One Russian-born man who moved here 8 years ago says he's supported Ukraine since the start of the war.
What happened yesterday at the Oval Office is a very, very dangerous and scary sign.
We have a lot of support here, so no matter what administration is saying, we stand for Ukraine till the end.
Yesterday, President Trump warned Ukraine's president that continuing the war without the U.S.'s support would mean a Russian victory. Well, tonight, some who work in the protection of aviators and passengers are speaking out over new safety concerns. A TSA officer at Seattle International Airport said they got 2 additional emails this weekend asking for a list of 5 things they did last week. They did not want to be identified out of fear of retaliation, but said local officers are frustrated. They feel this is DOJ's way of frustrating people enough to either quit or be fired from their jobs.
Well, obviously, there's a hiring freeze nationwide. That's also public, and that impacts locally as well. So if you are getting dismissal of people that are not complying to this ridiculous email, you're losing bodies that are going to directly impact your safety and security at an airport.
U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy announced a plan Thursday to improve the air traffic controller shortage, promising higher starting salaries from academy graduates and a less complicated hiring process. Our Environment Northwest team is looking at the impacts of massive cuts to weather forecasting across the country. This past week, more than 800 employees from NOAA, the National Weather Service, and U.S. Geological Survey were let go. Former NOAA scientists and Democratic lawmakers say this will impact everything from monitoring tornadoes to forecasting hurricanes.
These are people who conduct critical scientific and regulatory work that protect American family safety.
The Washington State seismologist also says cuts to USGS will likely impact how they fix and maintain earthquake warning stations.